Hello, everybody. Different location. I'm standing today. Partially because my desk has a bunch of ants on it, and partially because I want to stand. Sorry. So today is October 5th. Yep, 5th. And I watched Pan's Labyrinth, which I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of thoughts about. All mostly good. All good. I haven't seen this movie since I was very young, in a time when I could not comprehend what was going on in this movie properly. And so, for me, I had to watch this film for class. Um, and I really I was really looking forward to watching this film. Um, I it's a moral connection because I really wish I liked this film more. I really wish I loved this film. And there are many parts of this film that I do love, but I don't understand why, but there's something just holding it back for me, you know? And I guess I don't even know where to start. I think the story of this film is very brilliant. I think the way that it tells and juxtaposes the story of the Labyrinth and Ophelia. That's her name. That's her name. I think how it juxtaposes the story of Ophelia and her labyrinth, as well as Vidal and his ironclad ruling to kill and destroy the rebellion, is so intricately woven together, and so it's positioned in a way in which the juxtaposition works so well, because you see there are parts of the film where you see Ophelia not exactly go into the labyrinth, deal with some fantastical element that is due to the labyrinth, and then we immediately cut to Vidal doing some super fucked up heinous shit for the love of the country and to destroy the rebellion. And this movie is horrifying because of Vidal's character. Vidal is a malicious, horrible human being who I cheered for when he died at the end. I cheered when he was cut off, being like, I want my son to know the time of my death and my son to know my name. No, I was so happy that he got, because he deserved that. He wholeheartedly was a heinous, horrible person. And while, yes, historically looking, Spanish War, the rebellion was backed by fascist Italy and Nazi Germany. Not a good, not a good look. Not a good look at all. And then, Spain itself was backed by, like, Soviet Union, Britain, France, the historical quote-unquote good guys. It's so, historically speaking, we are cheering for the wrong side in the film. Technically. At least that's how my monkey brain understands it. But then, in the film, it kind of you see, here's the historical backing. However, here's how the good guys acted. No one is good within a war. No one is good within a revolution. Everyone is doing horrible things to both sides, to the point where none of it is really excusable. And while, yes, it ends up for the better in the end, it doesn't really end up for the better. Like, in real life, it just goes into World War II, and then it kind of just settles. Which, it's easy to choose a side in World War II. But, I think the social commentary on this film presents through the historical backing and the prevalence in making this, hey, this is something that actually happened, and we're going to set it during this specific time, but then also flip the sides and make it show these different elements is very interesting. It's very unique. It makes my history brain go like, like connection, red thread, all around. But anyways, back to what my point was, is that the juxtaposition of this fantastical world mixed in with the horrors of revolution and war it's very touching. It's so heartbreaking. And it's very well played until where we don't really know exactly like what is real and what's not. At least that's how I viewed it. Where, I can't tell if what Ophelia is doing and what Ophelia is going through is real until we get to the end where it's shown that the fauna that she's talking to doesn't exist because Vidal sneaks up behind her and sees her and she's talking to nothing. That perspective change is like, whoa, is this all in her head? Which, argument's sake, you can see that from the beginning. It's not hard to imagine that what she's going through is a trauma response. How children are more imaginative and creative than everyone else. In which she was uprooted from her home. Her father died. I don't remember how her father died. But anyways, her father dies. Her mother has to remarry this man because she is alone and because he is powerful. And then he impregnates her and has to bring her to this war-torn battle area, And it's really easy to see this as this is something, and she's also witnessing all the horror of war and revolution firsthand. Whether we understand that or not, it's a fact. She is there. It's happening. And so it's really easy to see the Labyrinth as a trauma response, I need to escape and put my attention on something else because everything around me does not make sense and it scares me. Where she sees the praying mantis and immediately thinks it's a fairy. And then she shows the praying mantis what a fairy looks like and it turns into it. That is the switch of she's like, I'm going to take this stuff that is rooted in reality and make it my own for my protection. And then also the Labyrinth itself, where she gets there and immediately checks it out and is like, this is cool. I like all of this. What's it about? And then they're just like, nothing. But she takes these elements of things that she's interested in and latches onto them and makes it her own and makes it her safe haven because that's what she has to do. Her mother is going through a horrible pregnancy. Her stepfather, she knows, is an asshole. Like, she knows that shit. And then Mercedes is just there trying to protect and overlook her, or protect and watch over her, but is also trying to help the rebellion. And so she can't give Ophelia the attention that she needs. And so she is really just being ignored by all three sides. And she has to cope and deal with all this trauma and all this crazy life event stuff on her own. And so and you could see like different parts of the Labyrinth or like her fantastical journey as like different parts, because we get the notice that each family is only each family. I'm so sorry. I still have a cough and it's driving me insane. I apologize, but we see them pass around the table. Every family gets one ration card, and it's brought up like they aren't going to have enough to eat. But then it's also like, yeah, but they can't give the rebels any food. It's like, okay, it's fucked up what you're doing, but you see the understanding, and you don't want to agree with it, but you're like, if we have to stop the rebels, then this is probably a good thing to do. But anyways, I'm not siding with Vidal. Vidal fucking sucks. Vidal sucks. But what I'm getting at is that this is just one example, but we see this happen, and then immediately she has to go down and meet. Oh, that's this. She has to go down and meet. Fucking what's it? The Pale Man. Oh my god, that guy's horrifying. What the fuck? But you know. Anyways, she has to follow the rules of don't eat anything, don't touch anything, don't really look at him. Just go in there, grab the stuff, leave. And so she gets down there in this magical feast. I mean, magical. There's so much food. There's so much shit. And the Pale Man's just sitting there like, oh, you know. But I'm just rambling at this point. Holy shit. I guess that's what movie logs are. But like, what we're seeing is that in real life, people aren't going to be able to eat. And then in the Labyrinth, she is told you can't eat anything. You aren't allowed to eat this food. That's like the one main rule, you know, is that you have to do it in a certain amount of time, that you don't eat anything. And all she does is plucks these 2 grapes and eats them. And everything goes to shit. And it's like, you know, like it just connects where this stuff is happening in real life, and then she has to follow rules related to it within the Labyrinth, and if she fucks up those rules, it's over. And so I don't know. This movie has so much that I love. I just think I need to rewatch it. Like, I think that's what I'm getting at, is that, okay, full transparency, I watched this movie on my laptop, on Tubi, in a study room, while 2 of my friends were just hanging out in it. So I had to rewind quite a bit, because I missed stuff because either people were talking or I was distracted or whatever. Or my laptop sucked. And so I had to rewind quite a bit, and I had to pause the movie for quite a bit. So it was not the best viewing experience. I will fully admit that, which definitely aids into my thoughts on it right now. You know. So I should definitely rewatch it with a good TV, with a good sound system, with ample lighting, with all that, because I think I will love it a lot more. But I think there's this movie has so much to impact, and I think Guillermo del Toro is a genius. I think he's one of the best directors we have seen of late. And I think if you give Del Toro the sauce and the ingredients, he's going to make you the best meal you've ever had. And I will freely admit that Del Toro, I have a lot of blind spots. I haven't seen Shape of Water. Have not seen the Kronos one, I think. I haven't seen a lot of his earlier works. I've seen Pacific Rim. I've seen this. I've seen both Hellboys. Eagerly awaiting Frankenstein. But even through all of the Pinocchio, I own. I've seen half of, but my God, is that half? Like, I've seen the first half. So good, I bought the Criterion collection because I'm like, I know I'm gonna want this. But Guillermo del Toro, I think, is a genius, and I think is one of those directors that can make the fun action movie of the Hellboys or of Pacific Rim, but then is able to make a movie like this one, or like Pinocchio, or Shape of Water, where we have seen these stories before. We've seen stories like this time and time again. This is not the first war film that anyone's seen. This is not the first fantasy film anyone has seen. But is able to weave magic into the films in order to create something that is new and unique and reinvents the genre in a way, one way or another. You know, because whatever he breathes on is a breath of fresh air. And I wholeheartedly stand by that for Del Toro. Let's see if I can sit down. Can you see me? Ooh, barely. I'm a talking head. But anyways, like this, I think the acting is very good. The child actor does very well. Vidal is one of the scariest humans, I've seen in film in a while. Because that man is horrifying. But I think he's also my favorite part of the movie. Because of his depth and because of what he represents and because how he has to deal with everything. Because you can easily make Vidal a war general that sucks. Sucks as in people hate him. Sucks as in he's an awful person and will just murder and mutilate people. Which Vidal does. The way he tortures people is crazy. Are you kidding me? Picks up a hammer, picks up a scalpel, picks up fucking pliers, picks up a knife, and is just deciding and slowly talking. And just the way he talks to the people is mutilating their brain. He mutilates their brain before he even mutilates their physical appearance. And wow. I was honestly, I was terrified to watch him. Because I'm like, what if he gets me? But I think his obsession with time and obsession with his father really is what does it for me. Because, sorry. What the fuck? Oh shit, I can't talk about that, but it's interesting how much of Vidal's life is dominated by the possession of time, in the need to control time. Because Vidal works on a clock, works on the watch, and no matter how much he tries to fix it, it doesn't work. But it's an obsession for him. It's eating him up on the inside that I can't. Here's this thing that I've put so much work and so much effort into making, and no matter what, I can't fix it. But because he's a general, and because he's so poignant, and because he is so specific, he can't stop. It's eating him alive. And we see this in other ways as well, through his meticulous shaving and how he tortures people and how he conducts business, because he is a general. He didn't get that job from being some lackadaisical, shithead. He got this shit through work, through being on time, through being meticulous. And I think time surrounds his entire character. And I find it interesting how that, how it is like that. And I don't think it really clicked for me. Excuse me. I don't think it really clicked for me until the dinner scene where they explain the story of his father dying. And then he explains, my father owned no watch. Bitch, you've been working on a watch. Did you buy a broken watch? Or are you so ashamed of your father that you deny that? But then, full circle, at the ending where he says, let my son know the time I died. That was probably really loud. But what I'm getting at is that this man's a fraud. This man's a fake. This man fucking sucks. Vidal, you fucking suck. But he's so engrossed into the need to control time, the need to have a grip on reality and of life and of everything, while living up to the expectations that his father set. His father died in war. His father was a soldier who died in war. And the last thing he did was smash a watch so that people could know the time that he died. And this feeling, this festering plague that was inside of his father is passed on to Vidal, where he must do exactly what his father did. He must join the military too. He must join the army. He must get high ranked. He must control time, and he must die with honor. He must die so that other people can look up to him. And he doesn't get that. And that motherfucker does not get that. But I mean, I'm rambling, but oh my god, it's just, and like even his fucking his like cabin or his office has gears in it, like he himself is trapped inside of a watch. Oh my god, the set design. Like, what? This man is engrossed in the need to control time, yet is so ashamed that his father was unable to do it. That his father stopped time when he died, so that others can know. That Vidal must get the watch and fix it so that he can control it once again, only for him to try and kill it when he died. It's just like, this man is ruthless, and this man is a killer, and this man has an obsession, and that obsession is control of time. Unless I'm just like overthinking the entire shit, or I'm just misreading it. Again, I need to rewatch. I'm not gonna rewatch it for a while, but I need it. But I this movie is very masterfully crafted, and I haven't even gotten into the more fantastical elements of the faun, of the pale man, of Ophelia, and her name. Her name is Ophelia. Just watch this movie and think about that for it. Her name is Ophelia. But anyways, it's the more I think about this movie, the more I know that I don't know a lot. The more that I think about it, the more I understand there is so much to unpack that I am just reaching the surface. And that pisses me off. I'll be so honest. That pisses me off. And so what I just think, I don't know. Guillermo del Toro is an artist and a craftsman. And I he I can't say he's one of my favorite directors because I've not watched enough of his stuff. But I think he could be one of my favorite directors, and I think he could become one of. He already is a well-loved director, not only for his movies but also culturally, just as a Mexican, and how he incorporates culture and life into his art. But that's a different topic. But I think Guillermo del Toro should run Hollywood. you know, um, but yeah, no, this movie it rocks. It is heartbreaking to think about, but I don't think you're doing this movie justice if but I don't think you are doing this movie justice if you don't think about it. I think that's the bottom line. And this movie is an allegory for obsession. This movie is an allegory for trauma. This movie is an allegory for war and what it means to be just not in control, but yet wanting it to be in control. And I also, why do I torture myself by thinking of stuff after I've passed the point? Ophelia basically in control of her fairy tale world. Vidal is not in control of his own world. Like, you know, you know, and they both die. Yikes! But arguably, Ophelia dies if you think that's all in her head. If you believe like the fairy tale stuff, then she lives forever. Ooh. But no, this movie I have a great appreciation for and a massive respect for, the directing, the acting, the cinematography, the editing is but the music's really good. The set pieces are super good. The dialogue, the symbolism, the representation. This movie is masterful and it's a work of art. But I, for some reason, just don't love it as much as I wish. And I think that is just because it's a lack of understanding. Because I want to understand this film on a super deep level. But I do not have the knowledge to do that. And I think that's just like a me thing. I think that's just a personal, I need to spend more time with this film to really love it, But, what do I usually do? Yeah. Today's October 5th. I've had such a busy past 2 days, and so I wasn't able to watch any films the past 2 days. Which really sucked. So it throws me off the Halloween watch list quite a bit, but we'll try and get back to that. We'll see. I haven't even made a fucking nightmare yet, Jesus. But yeah, no, very good movie. Today's October 5th. I watched Pan's Labyrinth around noon, 11:30 to 2:15. Watching was not ideal. Like, the watching situation, I guess, was not ideal. But, yeah, I think closing thoughts and closing remarks is that just I need to watch this again. I need to let this movie sit, and I need to let it fester inside of me. But, yeah, I'm Connor. Made this far, I appreciate it. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, I have a lot to say, but I need to let my thoughts sit for a little bit. And yeah, maybe I'll revisit this movie sometime soon. We'll just have to see. I might rewatch it after Frankenstein because I'll probably be in a Guillermo del Toro, kick, whatever. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. My name's Connor, and I watch movies, and I want to interact with them more, and want to get into it more, I guess. And so I'm logging them, Yeah, this has been the longest video so far, which means it has more depth than Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Ferris Bueller, so, and Friday the 13th, so. But, yeah, thank you. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, and night, wherever you are, whatever time it is. I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay happy. I hope you stay sane, and I hope you can get some peace of mind. Yeah, that's about it. Bye.